Oh, did it? Oh, nice.
Yep.
Wow.
Apparently they also don't like the word gimmick. So
Yeah, apparently.
Woohoo!
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, welcome back. I miss Yakuza chicken, personally.
You know what? I was debating being gone for another week just so I could see Yakuza chicken back again.
Yeah.
You guys know the backstory behind that chicken?
I don't.
Like why there's a chicken? Okay, so I'll try to be quick. In Yakuza
Oh no, he died.
Yakuza 0
Okay.
gets real estate. Okay. Yeah, Kazuma Kiryu gets into real estate, and so one of these mini quests is befriending a bowling clerk. So that girl that's like, oh, I'm gonna offer you a chicken, or offer you turkey. So Kazuma Kiryu gets his turkey, bowls three strikes, and then goes back to the lady, and the lady's like, here you go, here's your turkey, but it's actually a chicken, and then Kiryu is like, and he's closing his eyes like, I can't wait to have this delicious turkey, and then chicken pops up, and they're staring at each other like that's a chicken. That's a chicken. And they're staring at each other back and forth, and it goes the whole cutscene of going back and forth, looking at each other, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to cook it."
Right. They become like best friends.
And like, yeah, they become best friends. And the lady's like, "Yeah, I guess." And then at the end of the quest, the chicken becomes like a real estate employee because the chicken has really high stats of like persuasion, like bodyguard and stuff. So you use it as an employee for your real estate company. So
that's incredible. That is
amazing.
That I could possibly think of.
And that's why I love Yakuza.
I mean, it's a great franchise to begin with. But yeah, no, that's yeah.
Yeah. And we got Moriarty joining us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Hanging in there. Any fun, eventful stuff besides chickens doing real estate? And...
I get to see my fiance at the end of the month, and I get to go to Disneyland next month. Super excited.
That's stacked. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Disneyland.
Cool.
Disneyland.
Disney.
So stoked.
Let's see. So Disneyland is Florida?
California.
Okay. And Disney World's okay, yeah.
Florida.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Florida. Yeah. Disneyland is where the mountains are on fire in southern.
Yep.
California. So,
that'd be a great trip.
Bad.
You see the magical kingdom,
that'd be
those
fantastic.
Nice fireworks, and you look over and it looks like Mordor. And you're like, oh, fuck. Sauron is going to join us for It's a Small World ride.
Sauron just gazes down and goes, we're going on Space Mountain.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to keep me away from freaking
Balrog is showing up in the end of this It's a Small World.
Oh, man.
Knowledge I wish I had.
See, what always amazes me about Disney, and I don't know if this is true, like, in reality, but in, like, the kayfabe of Disney, every employee there is super happy to be there. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, you can tell when some of them have just, like, they've been doing this for hours and they just want to go. You can see it in their face. Their voice, they'll sound excited, but they're dead inside.
I actually had a friend that worked at Disney World on top of wrestling, which is funny.
Like her, okay.
Yeah, he went to school for like culinary arts, but he also wrestled. So he would fly up to New Jersey for shows because he was making decent money with Disney.
Yeah.
And it was just like he would fly up there for a show that you'd make like maybe like $40 on.
Right.
And then he would, hang out for the weekend, and then he'd fly back to work on Monday.
Already.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He loved the
like
business. It was definitely a loop. But I mean, he went from the happiest place on earth to the happiest place he wanted to be. So
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Do what you love, man.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And we got Todd EVF. How are you, my friend?
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
I guess
We're happy
Yeah.
to see you too.
I'm so GTA Online sucked me in so much.
I was watching
Yeah.
you play it. I like skimmed by the stream probably 2 days ago. It may have been yesterday.
Every stream I've done for the last like week and a half has been GTA.
So slick, and like you've got the controls down on point too, because like like 7 or 8 minutes, like because I had it on, I was like getting stuff around the desk and everything, and you were popping people like crazy because like the cops would pull up probably about 50 yards away, and you would just slowly turn the camera and go like bam, bam, like shoot out the tires, shoot out, and then you're like, fucking done. And then their car explodes, like flips and explodes, and you slowly turn back around and keep doing what you were doing.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's the way it's done. I mean, that is exactly the way it's done with my fucking psychotic bitch of a character who's now into gun running because that's a thing.
Of course. That's where you go. That's what you do.
The payouts are just too fucking good.
Yeah.
The only problem is you have to do them in public servers. And
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And the new DLC came out, and they added a new building for you to own where you can put an orbital cannon in.
Of course. Turns into a StarCraft map. It's like,
it's
called out
like
nukes.
it's got a 48-minute cooldown. Putting the orbital cannon controls in your new facility is 900,000. If you aim it yourself, it costs you 500,000 a shot.
God.
Okay.
If you let it aim for you, it's $750,000 a shot. So apparently, if somebody uses it on you, either they're stupid rich in the game, or you really did something to cause a spot of bother.
Oh man, that's like that old Chris Rock joke, right? About like you don't charge for the gun, you charge for the bullets. Like that's how you do gun control.
But I mean, I've been having so much fucking fun with that goddamn game.
Yeah,
it's just.
God, it seems like it's like a full course meal, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we didn't think we were getting another heist. Like,
right.
And we got that, and it's just like you need the facility to run it. So now I'm trying to get my facility so I can start running that heist.
It looks crazy. The trailers and stuff, it's like Transformer jets flying by and everything, and it's like
you got the Deluxo, like all the stuff you can purchase in game right now, like all the stuff you saw in the trailer, which is cool. However, if you do the heist, you have access to it in those missions, and from there you get a discount on those when you go to buy them. So it's like it kind of pays to do that.
That would make sense.
Okay.
But I mean, all it is content that was meant for single player that they obviously didn't do.
That they gutted and then resold to people.
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't like it was content that was going to be in single player.
Yeah.
It was going to be an expansion, and they were just like, I mean, the GTA Online thing is something that's people really are enjoying.
Right.
Let's kind of put it there as opposed to do a single player
that
expansion.
makes sense. Yeah.
So, and we'll give it to them for free. So
yeah, and it adds legs, and exactly. And like you said, you guys were waiting on content for however long. Like at this rate, it'd be like a year, right? Like it'd be.
We had an update in like August.
Oh, okay.
They do like 4 content, like big content drops a year, but in between those, they'll drip feed content to you as well. So
like add a little through a patch, like here's a
So
like right now, what the what it looks like is, oh, you got all this cool shit from the heist that you can purchase, like including the new tank that fits 4 people and has a fucking railgun.
This sounds like Saints Row now.
Right.
So it's funny you mentioned that, because when I started getting into this and looking at the actual patch notes for this, I was so tempted to thank Volition for their new Saints Row game by doing a tweet saying, at DS Volition, thank you for releasing that brand new Saints. Oh, it was GTA. And then also tweeting Rockstar saying, I didn't know you guys acquired Volition.
Yeah.
Right.
Just aping it, man.
I'm pretty sure they'll appreciate both parties would appreciate it.
There's such a Saints Row influence in that new DLC especially, and it's like, fuck. I mean,
yeah.
did we really just go there?
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about a lot of the content. Like the thing everybody wanted was a fucking jetpack, and now we got a jetpack, and it's like,
there you go. Yeah.
The problem with the jetpack, though, it's one hit to kill. Takes one hit to kill the rider.
Yeah.
And it kills the rider. It doesn't kill the jetpack. So if you're flying, you get shot, it kills you.
But
the jetpack comes. The jetpack shuts off, slams to the ground, explodes, and then you have to pay $20,000 to get it back.
That's a griefer's paradise.
It is.
That'd be funny if it just didn't explode. It's free for all.
Yeah.
Free jetpack.
It's like
the jetpack just spirals around.
It's like those gas cannons you would shoot in Just Cause, where you would grapple onto it and fly away on it.
Right.
That shit was rad.
Right.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, oh god. If you were contemplating getting into or back into GTA, now is the time.
Heck yeah.
Because it's a fun trip, and I know me. I run in a lot of closed lobbies, so I don't have to deal with people doing orbital strikes and just griefing.
Right.
Unless I have to try to do something that requires me to go into, as one of the group members calls, the cancer. Because that is exactly what it is. It's just,
I bet. So on the topic of Griefer's Paradise, let's talk about Patreon.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Okay. So
we messed up. We're sorry, and we're not rolling out the fees.
So to talk a little bit about it, I don't have all the numbers and stuff in front of me, but basically what happened is the way Patreon used to work is, well, I guess it still does, but we'll get to that. Way it used to work is you could set up tiers. You know, Todd, you have a Patreon, so if I get a part of it wrong, I
had a Patreon.
You had past tense a Patreon.
Yeah, I actually shut mine down last night, and then I got this email this morning where it's like, we goofed.
So and
whatever.
We'll talk about that too, but like okay, so you can set your own thresholds, like, donate $1, and here's what you get for $1. Donate $2, $5. So Todd, could you actually pick exactly the amount of money, or was there specific tiers that Patreon?
You were able to set everything you wanted.
Okay.
So I know for me, I had a $1, a $5, a $10, and then a $30 tier.
Oh, cool.
So like the $1 was just like, thanks for the support. Here's a private RSS feed for you to get early access to content. So like if, for example, me and Maury were to do like the Kota Ibushi thing we did, that would have gone on Patreon first, and they would have had access to that before everybody else.
Gotcha.
So it's little things like that, and that was cool. And then it's like the $5, it's like you can listen live while we record. Which was a cool little thing.
Sure.
And then it was like, I think it was $15 where it was, if you want us to like review a classic pay-per-view or something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
you can recommend based on that. And then $30 I called the gimmick table, and for $30 a month you were able to get a limited edition shirt, like a shirt of the month. It's not like, oh, you just get one shirt like a lot of the Patreons do. Like you sign up for that tier and you get one shirt and you're like,
that's
what?
Yeah, that's my thing. Right.
Why am I paying $40 a month
when I for a one-time
shirt?
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, you're able to make, basically you had total control over the type of things you wanted to give, the type of value you wanted to put on your brand.
Exactly.
And so you have that type of control. And basically, you would take the hit on what was it, a 20% service fee? I can't remember exactly what they said it used to be. Like, so if they paid $1 for the dollar tier, they would pay $1, but Patreon would take out a little bit from what you would get. Yeah. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly the way that would work. And I was fine with that.
Sure.
I mean, because if you think about it this way, like most people are going to go and pledge at like the lower tiers.
Yes.
Yeah.
If they're going to pledge, and it's going to be, that's why you go and you gussy up the bigger ones where it's like you get a shirt every month, or blah blah blah, and of course thank yous during the whole gimmick and such. But I mean, the big thing was, end of the day, like you donate, I say donate, but you support the Patreon at $1 level. I think I got 68 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
which was fine.
Sure.
It's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So, people, but the thing is, it's like if somebody pledged at the $5 level, I made $4.68. So it was just like a 38-cent fee that was just taken out.
Gotcha.
Flat fee.
Gotcha.
Which I was just like, yeah. And it kind of like, the more you pledge, the more we got.
Sure.
And which was great, because like a shirt, if I were doing like the shirts, the shirt by itself is $19.99 at cost.
Oh, right.
And that's so there's that. Then there's the shipping, which I can all handle right through the Spreadshirt. At that $30 tier, you actually give me your physical address and stuff like that. So when I do the shirt run, I go, okay, this person's getting a shirt. Let me do that. Boom. That's taken care of.
Gotcha.
This is taken care of. And it just made it real easy. I didn't have to deal with the whole, like, I got to worry about making sure I have the funds to do this and do that. And I have to get all the stuff, and then I have to mail it out. It was all taken care of.
Gotcha.
Right.
But Patreon got a little shitty.
And what ended up happening is Patreon was like, you know what? We love the fact that you like to give to your favorite creators. Now here's a way for them to get more money. So if you were to give Toddy VF $1, he's now going to get $1. And you're like, that sounds great. But then what they didn't tell you is, but you are going to pay that 38-cent fee.
Exactly.
So your dollar pledge was $1.38.
$1.38.
So that is exactly the way it went, and it was just.
And then that exact right, like as a creator, I think we can all agree it is our responsibility to take the hit. Like, that's just how that goes. So then and people went apeshit, and rightfully so. People were dropping out. In my opinion, this was completely to get rid of $1 tiers. Patreon makes no money off of it. That was probably a majority of their business, and they didn't like that. They wanted people to do the $5 and $10 and $15 tiers. That way Patreon gets a bigger cut. That's what they wanted to eliminate the $1 tier. However, what they didn't realize is a vast majority of Patreon members do the $1 to $3 tier. That's what they want to do. They can't. We're not going to ask someone to, you better give me $30 a month or else. Like, who the fuck are we? So it's like, give people options.
If you're giving me $30 a month, then I really need to be doing content for you. Like, that's
for sure.
You have to get something out of it. I mean, that's always been the big thing. Like, whether it's streaming, whether it's doing podcasts or anything like that, it's about value.
Yes.
I made a joke. I just changed all my alerts on Twitch to like Donald Sutherland pointing from 1977's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And I recorded all the new alert sounds. So it's just like, hey, that's a follow. And it's Donald Sutherland pointing and stuff. So for the subscriber one, I go, hey, that's somebody who decided to go and give money to the stream so they can get an emote.
Yeah.
Because that is legitimately what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go and dress it up fancy and take it to prom. No, fuck that.
Right.
I'm telling you exactly the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a fair play, and it's the thing with Patreon and there's a trend about this too, and it just irks the shit out of me because, like, here's the thing: I'm a hustler, right? I'm a salesman, I'm a dirty crook, whatever you want to say. Like, I get it. I'm a carny through and through, right? I can smell that shit from a mile away. So the moment they go, well, our passionate fan base, we heard what you all said, and you know what? Yeah. We're an empathetic company, and we're gonna do whatever it is. It's get the fuck over yourself. Like, no. Yeah. What you're doing is you done goofed. You lost all your business, and now you're double backing and asking for an apology, dressed up as, look how passionate our fan base is.
Yeah, it's
what? Yeah. Like, no.
I mean, their apology email is fucking hilarious. It's because it's really I already gave the title. We messed up. We're sorry, and we're not rolling out the fee changes.
Like, we need the Kmart, like that background and like a rabbit next to us and like we're big feather boa. Like, have just those big, who's the company that makes all those, like, light bloom pictures that has, like, the profile face in the background, and then, like, where you're, like, this, like, the old prom pictures, like, you're doing those. That's what that is. That's an emo version of, like, look at our vanity shots. Oh, don't you feel so bad? We're so sorry.
Shutterstock.
Yeah, right. Just, like, bad, like, family photo. Everyone's like this. Like, get the fuck out of here with that. Like,
yeah.
The thing, but something like this is going to happen again. Patreon just knows they can't do it that way. They're going to try it again. I guarantee you they're going to try it again.
What I think, and that's why I'm not reopening a Patreon.
Yeah.
But I mean, their letter, like, I read it, and as I said, I closed down my Patreon last night.
Yeah.
So I got this thing, and it says, "Dear creators, from the bottom of our hearts, we're truly sorry. Last week's service fee announcement caused a tough week for you, your patrons, and your teams. We were trying to solve a problem for creators, and in turn have caused more problems for you and your patrons. You've spoken loud and clear. We're not going to roll the changes to our payment system that we announced last week, and are currently assessing other options." Our CEO and co-founder, Jack. Like, not even a...
Jack's the paint guy from Home Depot. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Jack Patreon over here.
Our CEO and co-founder, Jack, explains more here, and it drops a link. And it's just like...
And it's a webpage just full of that type of rhetorical bullshit.
Yeah. I mean...
We made it a real tough shindig for you, didn't we? Gee golly willikers. It's just a real shimmy sham that we put you guys in. A real pickle.
We put you in a real pickle.
Like, terrible, dude.
So this is the first time I'm actually looking at what Jack had to say. And...
What does Jack Patreon have to say?
What's he saying? What's Jack got?
We heard you loud and clear, blah, blah, blah.
It's your boy, Jack.
No apology will make up for that. And nevertheless, I'm sorry. It's our core belief that you should own the relationships with your fans. These are your businesses, and they are your fans. Okay. Kind of an asshole thing to say, but whatever.
Yeah.
The next line gets even better. We spent hours and hours on the phone with creators.
We spent at least 11 minutes checking Twitter.
Check Twitter.
So that And so has the Patreon team. Your feedback has been crystal clear. The new payment system disproportionately impacted $1 to $2 patrons. We have to build a better system for them. Aggregation is highly valued, and we underestimated that.
Our calculations were wrong.
They took aggro and they didn't have abilities to take
Fundamentally, creators should own the business decisions with their fans, not Patreon. Good fucking job. It took you fucking up and losing a lot of creators.
And here's the deal. They did this push, and reread that sentence about this disproportionately affected the $1 to $2. Like, read that exact word, like verbiage again. Read it one more time.
The new payment system disproportionately impacted $1 to $2 patrons. We have to build a better system for them.
They have all of the data and analytics you could shake a stick at. And they pushed this out knowing that was going to fucking happen. You can't say, we didn't, the math. Oh, we didn't know that it would do this. Whoa, wacky. Like, they knew for a fact.
We had no idea.
None. We were clueless, which puts a lot of faith in the fucking product. Like,
and then Steven PR was on the phone for hours.
He talked to a guy from Delaware who heard a Patreon. And that guy was very upset about not getting his Arby's burger on time. So then he said that who talked?
And then he found out that Arby's doesn't serve burgers.
Yeah, he didn't get the Szechuan sauce. He was real upset. Fucking.
So he rolled around on the counter yelling "Pickle Rick."
This chicken manager.
Yeah, speak to the man.
But yeah, I mean,
with a bob haircut, that haircut that's down to here.
I know it'll take a long time for us to earn back your trust, but we are utterly devoted to your success, and and to getting you sustainable, reliable income for being a creator.
So, kids, here's a pro tip from 4 creators. You're seeing 4 creators right here. They don't give a fuck.
3 and a cup of tea.
They don't give a fuck about you. They're in it for the money. For the money. Ask YouTube how that's going.
Right.
Ask Twitch.
I thought I heard this letter from Dice.
Yeah, which letter? If you would change the word Patreon and make it an ad lib.
Yeah.
This is everybody's letter. And I like how it says Dear Creator, because that's the new digital version of To Whom It May Concern.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, this is
we're all fucking creators now.
Yeah, everyone is. It's like,
as previously stated in my last email.
as referenced by the Patreon. Everyone get off Patreon. Like, yeah, because they're going to do this again. And then everyone's going to do the navel gazing of like, maybe, there has to be a different way to, just fucking open up a PayPal. Give out your PayPal email address. Hey, if you want to support me, just give me money through PayPal.
Yeah.
I'm not going to set up a website. I'm not going to just.
And you know what? That's another thing.
Email.
Like with PayPal, like if people want to support you through PayPal takes a fucking cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's the big fucking deal? Like they take their cut because they're the one handling the financial transactions.
Sure.
They're doing the legwork for you, basically.
Absolutely.
And they give you the option as a person using the service to give money to someone else to either say, I'm just send them $20, take the cut out of that, or hey, how much is the fee going to be on them?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go and I'll bump mine up so they get their $20.
Right. Exactly.
Problem solved. Do that. If you did that Patreon, it would have been fine.
Yeah, it would have been A-okay. And the thing is it's like, people's fans, I know all of our fans, people that like our content, are pretty smart enough to do basic arithmetic.
Mm-hmm.
They can, if they take a cut of 20 cents and then this is a 30-cent service fee, I'm just going to up my thing or I'm going to modify my thing. Like, give people the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? Like, I've never even thought of mentioning, oh, you gave me $5 for the Twitch stream? Well, that's cool, but did you know I only get blah, blah, blah? Because that's
I only get $2.50 off of that.
Because that's a shitty thing to do. Like, no, they gave $5 full. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the fact that they gave $5 full, even if I only give $2.50. Like, what I get is a semantic argument. Like, I don't give a fuck.
It's nice that they want to do that.
It's a gesture. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's what it comes down to. Oh, hey, you're giving me money. Of course, Big Brother here's got to take their cut. And
chunk of change. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I've always been honest and such with my community when it comes to things like this. I mean, that's why, like, for example, I bring up the fact of, like, the Spreadshirt. Like, this is what the cost is. You know, This is cost, and this is what you're paying. You're paying, like, I think $1 more. $1, maybe $1.50 more for a shirt, except for the ones with 2 designs, because I'm setting those at cost. You know, you're paying what I pay for them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because there's no reason for me to screw you guys when it's like, hey, you're supporting me. Yeah. I make fucking, like, if somebody buys a gimmick bag shirt, I make $4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd much rather do that than be like, oh, hey, you want to support me? Well, you can support me at the $5 tier, but you'll be paying $6.
Yeah, which makes no sense. It's to me, it's all about the gesture. I feel more fulfillment about the fact that somebody would want to donate the $1 to the Twitch stream or donate, like, oh, I love your stuff, love your content. I don't have a lot to do. Like, I have people that, like, will send me apology notes being like, I'm sorry I can't subscribe for this month.
Yeah.
I don't care, man. Like, do what you got to do. Yeah. Like, your family, your food, you better eat. Like, if I know that you're going without to give me fucking $5, I'm going to be angry and then send you 10. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that shit. Like, I'm going to make some stuff regardless. If you like it, I love it, that you love it, and, like...
Shit. The biggest gesture you guys can do for any creator, share their work. Let other people get other eyes on it.
Yes.
That's all you need to do.
Show your friends, whatever. Yeah. Like,
any like-minded people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that's the only thing you should be doing. Yeah. You know, we don't have marketing firms to go and put up ads on everything and so on and so forth. You guys are enjoying this. Do the thing. Like, tell people, like, hey, I was listening to this podcast. You know, Moriarty, Marco, Wes were terrific. That Todd guy's a bit of an asshole. But
don't worry about that Wes kid, but all the other ones are great. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I think you might enjoy this. Like, their brand of comedy really hits, you know, or, you know, the way that they discuss things really hits what I'm looking for.
Sure.
And I think you might enjoy it as well. And I mean, that's what really does amazing stuff for us.
Yeah.
You know, and another great gesture, listeners, viewers, audibletrial.com, brothering around. That's right. That's another great gesture.
You get something for free out of that deal, by the way.
Yeah,
you get a free audiobook. Yeah. You can choose any of them. You get it for free, and you get to keep it. You don't got to sign no paperwork, nothing. You just keep that shit.
I'm good at these live reads, just kind of shoehorning them in.
That's right. Just
that's how you got to do it.
I just carnied that entire thing in there.
That's
it's just like, you know what? Boom. Because I mean, and I'm being serious. Like, that does support brothering around very much.
Yeah, it does.
It is an amazing thing, and you get something out of it, and that's ultimately what we want. And I know that's what I want, is for you guys to get something out of whatever we're doing, whether it's some sponsorship deal we end up getting down the road, or let's just say Marco gets a sponsorship deal for something ridiculous and whatnot, or, you know, I have Loot Crate, you know, it's if you guys are getting something out of it and you're helping us.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to just throw money. I'm not going to complain.
Right.
I'm not going to.
We'll find a way to use it for sure.
But if you want to get something out of it, I mean, there's options. There's options to do so. Whether it's whether it's merch from any of the creators or enjoy. Maybe they do. They have an Etsy shop or something like that, and you pick something up from them. That stuff means a lot. That, like, if let's just say Maury had an Etsy shop and was doing I don't know, like knit caps, which was a thing that you were kind of working on at one point, and and you're selling them on the Etsy shop. Now, let's just say you're selling it for $15, and that you've put this much time into it, and you've done this. And is it more important to have like a ton of stock to move and be like, I got to get rid of all this shit, or is it, oh hey, I got 3 of them, we sold out? Like, that's, people want this, like, and they know that it's supporting what I'm doing. Yeah. So I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like, if you want to talk value, and that's what it comes down to, is value. I mean, if you don't give a shit and just want to throw money, fine, but try to get something out of it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't walk into a Best Buy or whatever and go, here's $3,000, give me a TV.
Yeah, right. You're going and looking. You have intent. You're context is everything. Don't be, and I'm going to throw all these people under the bus. Don't be the people that donate $10 to like Soda Poppin' just to get your name and your dank meme up on the screen. Like, get something else. Like, I don't know how they work that racket. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got so big that people will pay money just so their name is on the screen.
Also, a lot of those older personalities on Twitch that were partnered early on have a different scale than everybody else.
That's very true.
So let's just say, I mean, for the affiliates,
the corporations don't care about you.
Yeah, they don't. They don't.
They're for the money.
They want you. Let's just say you do Twitch, like we do. They want you to shill their product, and then they give you a commission.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
Yeah,
it's standard sales. That's all you're doing. The way you do it, you got to be entertaining. You got to make sure that people are enjoying themselves. They get lulled into a false sense of security most times, and then, next thing you know, they're just like, I really enjoy his content. Let me subscribe to him, or let me use my Twitch Prime. Which is Amazon giving money to itself and going, you got them to use their thing that they weren't going to use anyway. So here's a little bit.
Here you go. Yeah. Which is so funny because it's like it's almost like we talked about loot crates last week. This is sort of the real life type of, because you're basically, oh, this is your first time at the casino? Well, here's $50 on us. Here you go.
Yeah. Legit.
Just play. Do you always just play with that card? Just play with it. Just go whatever you want. Just
even
steak.
bits.
You want this free steak? We'll feed you dinner. This is your first night here. You know what? We're gonna comp your room. That's what we're gonna do for you.
Yeah.
And then you're in the hole for $5,000. Like, that's how they do it. Yeah.
I mean, even Twitch with bits, right? If you're in the United States, you can watch ads to get free bits, which is fine.
Yeah.
But then you go, I want to be able to use these a little bit more. So then you go and you buy the $7 one. And you're like, all right, cool. That went really quick. All right, maybe I should have gotten the $20 one because I get a lot more bits to drop, and so on and so forth. And then it just progresses that way. And you're a step away from buying shark cards in GTA.
You're becoming a whale at this point.
Yeah, exactly. You're becoming I'm going to buy that single green card for Magic the Gathering that's worth $350. You know what I mean? Like, you start going down that path. And, and like you said, and Todd, you brought up a real good point. Basically, that is a self-sustaining infrastructure. Because I'm going to buy bits, and then I'm going to use bits and give out bits. So then that person gets bits, and then they can give out bits, and then they can...
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, all this money goes into Twitch and never leaves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I've seen. This is once again to go back to the casino thing. This is how casinos can afford all those nice chandeliers. That money never leaves. It's always just kind of percolating.
The house always wins.
Always, kids, always. The smartest thing you can do once you hit whatever threshold, whatever. Oh my, my $50 threshold on YouTube or $100 threshold on Twitch.
Cash out.
Pay that shit out the minute it goes. Watch it like a hawk. The minute you can, PayPal that shit out of there. Get that money out. Go spend it on a nice dinner. Go do something.
Yeah.
Just don't.
I mean, I'm still waiting on my Twitch payout because it takes 60 days from the time of cash out to receive it.
So yeah, you pay out in June and then you get it September or
Yeah.
August. Yeah. So
like the next month.
Yeah, I paid out in October and I think I get it like the 1st of January or something like that. Yeah. And it's like I don't know. You guys got a lot of life lessons from creators on this one.
Go make content, go produce whatever you want to produce, go, get some fans, go do all that stuff, open up a Patreon if you want. Like we're judging the tool of Patreon. Yeah. But we're just letting you guys know, keep this type of stuff in mind because it's easy to keep all of what you earn monetarily in the same infrastructure. That whole Scarface get high on your own supply shit. Like it's
I was just thinking like with Patreon, right? So Patreon, and they changed this maybe 2 years back, but when you would, they might have actually not changed it, but when you had pledges that you were doing as a creator, you were pledging to other things, it came right out of your cut. It came right out of the money that you were getting. So it was, instead of you getting like in my case, $6, I would get $3 because $3 was going here, and it's like.
Yep. And Patreon still got a service fee.
Yeah.
So this is a way for them essentially to get free money. They are mining their own Bitcoin by doing these transactions. Because guess what you had to do on that $3 you sent to that other thing? Pay a service fee.
Yeah. Yep.
Where's that service fee money come from? That's all profit, man. That is all profit.
It's just shuffling it around. I mean, that's all it is.
Moving money.
That's it, man. Just laundering. They're going to put it in some Cuban, like, some Western Union account. Like, that's right, man. It's like, oh no, we are out of Zimbabwe. Actually, we are not an American company. We are just focused out of Zimbabwe. We like to go to our native island and just hang out.
Yeah.
It's like, really, it's IRS coming at your ass. And you're like, no, we're from the Himalayas right over here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. Companies are looking out for their interests. They're not looking for yours. It's your choice on whether you want to use their tools. I mean, obviously, like YouTube and Twitch, we have no control because that is the platform. Yeah. We have no control over their stuff. We sadly have to use their platforms. Yeah. And this video archive's on YouTube. So, I mean, that's a thing. We have to use that.
Yeah, it's what's available.
Yeah. If there was something better, if hypothetically we were to create our own infrastructure for that entire thing just for this silly little video archive, it would not be worth doing.
Oh, yeah. I can actually tell you this because I looked into it. To have your own real-time media player server, an RTMP server, if you host it somewhere like Amazon, which is still pretty cheap comparatively, let's say we do one episode of Brothering Around, because they average about, we're at the 45-minute mark right now. We average episodes about an hour and 5 minutes to an hour and 25 minutes. Each video, this is now at 720p, each video is still about 7 gigs. Let's say 100 people watch the show, right? So you have, bare minimum, 700 gigs of transfer data and that would be per month. That would, on an RTMP server, I don't have the price list in front of me right now. That would probably, I would pay about $400.
Yeah.
For that. So it's expensive. Like it's not even like kind of expensive. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
But YouTube, they have the infrastructure built solely to host things like what we're doing.
Yeah.
So there's this thing called economy of scale. They have, God, what are those numbers on how many videos get uploaded per like minute on YouTube? It's like hundreds of thousands. They say they go through over like 400 petabytes of data in 4 hours or something. Like just a staggering amount of server bandwidth. But they pay for that type of bandwidth. So they want you to use all of it. The more that's getting used, the bigger discount they get on it. So it's the same way. It's like, I'm a big guitar player. Why in God's name would you spend $6,000 on a guitar if you can buy one for $129.99 that kind of does the same thing? It's the economy of scale. They're using cheaper parts that can be mass produced on those $129 guitars, but they also make 8 million of them because that's the only way to counterbalance how much it costs to make them.
Yeah.
You got to make so many of them that you can sell those back at a way lower price to make all your money back. YouTube does the same thing. They like fractions of a penny per like gig of transfer data.
Yeah.
Right? So they have such an insane discount and their whole infrastructure is only for video. They do nothing else. But why do you think they started going with YouTube Red? Why do you think they started doing like YouTube exclusive live streams? They had to find other ways to bring different markets into their infrastructure without changing what they do. YouTube is not going to be an audio podcasting platform anytime soon, right? It's all video. No. That's all they're built for. So they have the economy of scale. So yeah, like Todd was saying, YouTube's what we use. We can talk mad shit on YouTube because there's a lot of stuff because there's no other option. Like, do you think YouTube gives a shit what we think about YouTube? No.
Yeah. Oh. What's the worst they do? Demonetize us?
Yeah. We'll just pull your channel. Like, they have the leverage. They have the power. So you got to kind of play by the rules. It's one of those lessons. You just gotta swallow some pride about this type of stuff because you got to use what you can use. You got to get your message out there. You got to get your content out there and hope it sticks. It might not. And here's the deal. It probably won't. But keep at it. It's going to. You just got to keep going. And, I mean, we've been going for God knows how long. I mean, Brothering Around shit's over a year old.
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, we've been going. I've been podcasting literally in 1 month, almost to the day. I will have been podcasting for a decade.
Wow.
10 years.
10 years.
Nitro Beard started January of 2008.
Yep.
God damn. Like, you know what I mean? But you just keep grinding. You just keep going and you find the thing you like to do and you do it because you love the process. Who cares who watches? Who cares who listens? Get that shit out of your head. You know, just get it out.
Do it. Do it for you.
Do your thing. Just do your jam. We're always going to say that every single time.
Yeah.
You know? So to kind of go away from that, we talked enough about Patreon and their dumbass decisions.
Fuck them.
Yeah, for sure. So to go on the wrestling kick.
Okay.
Notice that Daniel Bryan going to be a special guest referee at Clash of Champions. Over under, just right now, do you think he will do a move? Yes or no?
I hope so.
I think he'll take a bump.
I think so too.
You think he'll take a bump? Okay.
Not a flying headbutt.
No.
No, I mean, think of it this way. Right now, and I was talking to Maury about this earlier, like throughout the day, I'm like, he's the second special guest referee for this match. What if he's been cleared Because why else would we be in a situation where it can get physical?
Right.
We'll know if he takes a bump.
Mm-hmm.
If he takes a bump on television, then he's cleared.
Yeah, that's it for yes, 100%.
Unless he goes into business for himself, and what are they going to do? Fire him? That's what he wants.
Well, shit, isn't his contract up in January?
No,
No.
It was originally supposed to be up in January.
Oh, okay.
But when he did the retirement thing and stepped away, they froze his contract.
Oh.
So until he came back for the Cruiserweight Classic shit, which was several months later,
So then it re-upped that date.
then it continued from there, which sets it in like around SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, I think... Yeah, you're absolutely right. If he takes a bump of any type, besides like a push or something.
Yeah.
If he takes an actual bump, someone does a move to him, he's cleared.
Mm-hmm.
My only wish, if that were the case, and it doesn't even make sense because it's not the right show and all that shit.
Him and The Miz?
Him and The Miz.
Oh, God, yes.
That would be the only way. Have Shinsuke and The Miz as a team, then have some shit hit the fan, because everyone always wanted to see the Daniel Bryan Shinsuke Nakamura match anyway, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you build that type of dynamic, but you have to pay off the Miz shit. You have to pay, like, it has to happen, and I know he's off filming shit and whatever. I don't care.
The Miz shit, though, has been going on since 2010.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people forget. The network just put up the NXT game show.
Yes.
If you remember that. Daniel Bryan was in the first season. His pro was The Miz. And like right off the bat, there's just shit between the two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel Bryan, like at one point, Miz smacks him, like right in the first episode. And then they cut to commercial, whatever comes back. And it's Matt Stryker and Daniel Bryan. And he's just like, yeah, he smacked me. But just remember, Miz, I smack harder.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And wasn't the whole thing about The Miz like, oh, you're some internet darling?
Yeah. He flat out calls him an internet darling. And it was terrific.
That's so good. Oh, man.
Yeah. And the thing was, once they instituted the eliminations, like later on in the season, because they wanted everybody to kind of get to know the workers and such, Daniel Bryan he was always up for elimination, but the fans always kept him in.
Yep.
And it was just like, well, and Michael Cole was a total asshole the entire time. It's this bingo hall wrestling.
Yeah.
You should listen to his pro. Give him respect. I mean, like, and you're just like, good. No. And that was when Michael Cole was also like huge on The Miz. Back then.
So
it was just like, it was fucking terrific.
I'll tell you what, the more I think about it, genuinely, the more I absolutely love Michael Cole. Because if you look back, I remember going to the live taping of one of the Raws. I think it was Raw like 1003 or something. So it was after they did the big 1000 celebration.
Oh, the 1000.
Yeah, CM Punk was still in the company. He was still champ. They were starting to build that whole Daniel Bryan CM Punk thing, like where they had some of their good pay-per-view matches and stuff. But it was also like, oh yeah, John Cena and the Big Show were fighting because sure.
Yeah. They were fighting over who was going to take up the check at Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, exactly. Who was going to have to ride shotgun in the next road trip. But whenever Michael Cole came out, at the start, before any Raw, if you've never been to like a TV taping, they'll play music and they'll bring out the announcers first, and then the announcers will do like the parade wave and all this stuff, and like, oh, hello, and just talk about how's the crowd doing tonight, and everyone cheers. Yeah. So Michael Cole comes out first, and I give him a standing ovation, and people around me like look like, what the fuck's up with this guy? Like, who's this guy standing? And I'm like, senpai. Like,
notice me.
Please notice me. But I was big into Michael Cole because he's so good at being dreadful. Like, he does all the shit that pisses people off. But I think that's why he calls moves the wrong thing. I sincerely think Michael Cole is smart enough. Because early in his career, Attitude Era and shit, whenever he would do guest commentary on, like, Sunday Night Heat or something, what he would do, he would call the moves what they are. He would talk about it. He would do play-by-play. Yeah. He would actually call the moves. He would be like, well, that hold is good because, it's cutting off the airflow. And, like, he would do that. He would do the textbook sort of, like, clinical study guy. And he was good at it. But then he started getting more over whenever he started being the straight man, I guess. Or, yeah. So he would be the straight man, and it's like just reminds me of the old Heenan and Monsoon stuff. It's like, would you stop?
Yeah.
Like, that type of...
King.
He was that guy, right? He was the would you stop? King, what are you, crazy? Like, he started playing into that. And then he wore the dumb headgear. You remember that? Whenever he was doing the amateur wrestling gimmick.
And he had his WrestleMania match.
Yeah. And the onesie that he wore, his Andre the Giant onesie. That, like, he's really out of shape. And so he gets it. And then he was the GM that was the computer. Whenever it was the laptop computer. And he was like, and then the lights would flicker, and he was like, oh, the GM wants something, and he'd stop, like, commentating in the middle of the match and walk over to a laptop computer.
Take his headset off, walk over, grab the little mic on the pedestal. The
May I have your attention, please?
GM has sent a message.
It's so good.
This is now a no disqualification match.
They hated that.
Unless this wrestler uses this item, and then they can be disqualified.
He's so over.
Oh, back over, put his headset on. King's like, what the fuck?
I'm convinced Michael Cole is one of the best in the business because of that. Because of that type of shit. Like, he has balls of steel to be able to be like, I'm going to shut down the show for 5 minutes, walk over, do the computer, and everyone's boo, boo. Like, oh, man. I just love stuff like that whenever you're so in it. And then he's very serious about it. Like, no, the computer says. And people are like, fuck that computer. And he's like, it's the computer. Like, what am I going to do? I got to do what it says. It's the GM.
I love the Final Fantasy.
It looks like a chocobo.
Yeah.
It's like, Michael Cole, you don't know what the fuck a chocobo is.
You don't know jack.
You know nothing.
But it's my favorite.
My favorite was 6. Or was it like, you could tell he was fed lines.
Yeah.
By the people that actually played Final Fantasy.
I forgot that he had a handheld right by the thing. So he would take off his headset, grab the handheld, say the whole, like, the anonymous Raw general manager has an announcement, has sent a message, and then he would walk over, open up the laptop.
It takes so long, and then he'd log in, and he'd forget his password, and then he'd log in again. Like, it's so good. And then there was the whole time, I guess he was injured. Like, it was the hype, the build up for that WrestleMania match when, like, King, like,
when he was in basically the Pope Mobile.
Yes, he was in this like this vacuum sealed container, and they'd wheel it out, and he's like, oh, like he was some cryogenically frozen, like, Walt Disney guy, and he's like, no, oh, my neck hurts so bad. You're like, so ridiculous.
Oh man, yeah, man, Michael Cole.
But see, you won't see. Well, I was about to say that you won't see Corey Graves ever do that. I bet Corey Graves could do that. I bet he could be.
He's on the road. God. He's on the road to that.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the Michael Cole replacement because he's very much the he's very much the heel announcer that will always side with the heels.
Yeah.
And
hates Enzo.
Yeah. Oh, here's this guy. Yeah.
I mean,
shut up, Byron.
To be fair, everybody hates Enzo, so
and everybody hates Byron. So I mean,
yeah.
Poor Byron.
Byron is a creepy fuck.
Yeah.
He's weird. A little weird. He's wrestling. Yeah.
What is weird?
He's too obsessed with Nia Jax.
Yeah. There's a ride along with where they have there's actually it's mentioned in two of them. One of them is the Good Brothers and Nia Jax traveling, I think it was.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And she calls it was Nia Jax and somebody. Good Brothers are in the other car or something like that. Because they had a cardboard cutout of Finn and AJ.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I watched that one.
Oh, it's a good one.
It's great.
But yeah, Nia Jax basically talks about how Byron Saxton is like thinks that they're in a relationship together. And like this whole thing, and it's weird. And what's funnier about that is an earlier episode, it was JBL, Michael Cole, and Byron Saxton driving together. And Cole wants nothing to do with it, and JBL's just being a total asshole.
Oh, of course, yeah. Par for the
and
course.
Byron's just, and it's just like, can we make a stop? Tammy the Tummy's hungry, and it's just they're like, what? you call and Michael Cole's like, you named your stomach? Yeah, I named it Tammy the Tummy because it rumbles and it's got to be fed, and they're like, you're fucking weird. Like,
so good.
But yeah, I mean, they end up they get to a rest area and they leave him there. Just fucking take off.
Oh, that's
he
great.
walks out and he's got bags of like food and stuff like that. It's like, where'd they go? And they're like 40 miles up the road already. And I mean, JBL had a cowbell, and he just like whatever Saxton would try to talk, he just starts banging the fucking cowbell, being an asshole. It was terrific. So calls, and it's just like, oh, we can't hear you, and then all of a sudden JBL takes the bell and just starts doing it into the phone. Cole can't hold his shit together. He is laughing so goddamn hard. Saxton is arguably like I like Saxton a little bit more than I do on Otunga.
But not by much.
Yeah. I mean, if you gave me like you can only kill one of these two. Byron Saxton or David Otunga. And I'm just like,
I think Saxton would win by a very narrow margin.
I'm like, Saxton, it's going to kill me to say this, but you live.
Yeah. I think the test I would put them both through is your backstage interview and someone pours water on you. You know that whole bit that an announcer goes through to where they'll be like, oh, I'm going to talk to so-and-so. And then it's like, oh, how do you feel about your match? And they're going to be like, get out of here. Like they do the whole like, I'm not going to talk to you. You waste of time. And then they take a beverage of some sort and like pour it on the announcer. And then the announcer does this bit where they're like,
yeah.
They just look like they've been like a pie to the face or something. They're like, whoa.
I mean, you don't even have to be a backstage announcer to get it. Like, I mean,
True.
Austin pouring the beer on Michael Cole, like that's while he's at the announce desk.
He looks like he's enjoying that a little bit too much.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And like, yes, some of the announcers are crazy. I will say, I'm liking the fact, and this is going to tie into another deal. I like whenever the wrestlers are getting kind of more control over their own segments now.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of see it a little bit. Like they're trying to let the leashes off, just a little bit. Like go be your character. I'm going to put you in a goofy situation, but go do what your character would do. And it's a little bit more kind of ad lib. Like some of the stuff, like all the stuff for Roman's probably still written word for word, and he has to memorize that shit.
It has to be.
Yeah, and then you get kind of that middle tier. Oh, you're the mean one, and then you're the nice one, and you guys have a thing. Okay, now go, and then they can kind of ad lib.
Yeah.
But then you see that, and you're like, okay, some of these people they're getting their chops up. And then you see the build-up for Wrestle Kingdom with Chris Jericho and fucking Kenny Omega. And you're like, oh, that's how you do that. That's how you ad-lib. Because those guys are nuts. Like, I could easily stake the claim. And it seems like every year and a half I do this. Chris Jericho's the greatest professional wrestler that's ever lived.
Yes.
Like, I cannot think of anyone better. Because he's yet another character now. He is asshole, get out of my face. What did he say to the guy?
What are you looking at, fuckface?
What are you looking at, fuckface? What's funny? Like, that guy, and then throws a table at Kenny Omega. As Kenny Omega's in a neck brace.
Yep.
Like, you can't get more, like, to kick the crutch out from Tiny Tim. Like, oh! Like, it's so manipulative, like, but it works. But it's so... That build-up has been so much different than anything else that you've seen. I mean, Naito kind of pushed those buttons a little bit, like through the press conferences and stuff like that, over the past like 3 years or so since he had his. With
him also disrespecting every title that he's held,
pushing it off tables and throwing it and shit. Yeah, so they're going that direction. But now getting Kenny and Jericho and fully embracing, like, being rude to the press, it's a whole different angle, and people are going crazy. Like, if you find the gif of where they, because that Twitter feed, Mr. Lariotto, or whatever, and like TDE Wrestling, they're putting up gifs of all of that stuff, and whenever Kenny Omega rushes Jericho on the stage, you'll see, like, starts, like punching and all this. All of the press stand up and rush the stage. Like, I've never seen anything like it. And they'll, like, put the cameras over it, and, like, you see the flash bulbs and stuff. And like, oh my God, it looks like a riot just broke out. And I was like, any two people that can make the very, like, composed, very formal Japanese press, like, they're there where they're going to ask their question. I'm going to raise my hand. Yes, I have my question is blah, blah, blah. Okay, thank you, sir. And then, like, oh, we're going to take the picture and we have the video camera here. Like, very subdued, very, to themselves, like, introspective style press. They go ape shit. Like, Kenny Omega runs out, dives at him, and then you would think a UFC fight just broke out because these guys are rushing them. Yeah. And, like, pushing each other over. Let me get the picture. Oh, God. Like, it changed the whole dynamic of a build for that company. And then you go back and you're like, yeah, it's cool that they're doing NXT live on USA. They're trying to get this stuff out there a little more. But then you're like, they still got a ways to go, man. Like, New Japan's just got it in spades.
Right now they do, yeah. It wouldn't be. I would not be surprised if we get maybe like 1 or 2 more good years from New Japan before there's another slump.
Yeah,
because New Japan does that. Like, they'll have like a good decade, and then it's like 5 years that we can.
Yeah, because that happened in between. Because I want to say before this one, over the past 5 years, it's been pretty huge. But before that, it was with the whole Mitsuharu Misawa, that whole era of, like, the late 90s, early, like, All Japan versus New Japan. And then,
that shit was like white hot.
Yeah. Where you have, like, Kenta Kobashi, Mitsuharu Misawa,
Kenji Muto.
Yeah, Muto. So, before he comes over to America, you have these just baller guys. And they're living legends. Like, it was the type of thing to where, Ric Flair has the persona, right? But traffic would stop for Mitsuharu Misawa. Like, they would close down roads just so he could walk through. Like, he was a national treasure. It's like, okay, here's the guy. Like, that's the guy. But it wasn't a build-up. Like, it wasn't a hammed-up thing like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Like no one decided that they were going to be the guy. Mitsuharu Misawa was just the guy. Like there he is.
It just happened.
That's the best guy in the
way
world.
He worked.
Like that's there's no one would argue.
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit more manufactured and stuff. But so then you had those young guns, those young lions, like Tanahashi. Like early Tanahashi, not what he is now. He had to earn it. Yeah. He was rough around the edges for about those first 2 or 3 years.
Well, I mean, even young lion Okada. Hell, he had to work in TNA for a bit before.
Yes, God, he did.
Him and Sonata.
I remember Sonata's run too, and it's funny you brought him up because I was thinking Sonata's gonna be one of those guys. I think he's got the size. I think he's gonna be after Naito, after Omega, after the kind of big guard leave. Mm-hmm. I think it's gonna be like. It's going to be Evil. It's going to be Sonata. It's going to be... They have a good batch. I just don't know if it's going to be the same worldwide intensity that we're getting right now from Okada and Naito and Omega and, I just don't know if that's going to be the same. A theory I did bring up, I know we got about 5-6 minutes left. Something I wanted to bring up. Do you guys think that if we did not get Jericho versus Omega, it would have been Ibushi versus Omega?
Absolutely.
I saw that theory and I was like, they're onto something. This would have been the year.
It's very plausible. They had the whole build for Omega Ibushi until August.
Yeah.
And because in August, that's when apparently the deal between New Japan and Jericho started.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, they're like, yeah, this is what we're doing. Like, but if that didn't happen, we would have had Coda. I mean,
yeah.
And I would have wanted it to be a fireworks death match, even though New Japan would never do it. Right. He comes out dressed like War Machine and,
So good.
I mean, you got to have the big Wrestle Kingdom entrance. Yeah. And I mean, for Coda, you just he's got Roman candles strapped to his shoulders and on his wrists and shit.
And he's on a cart.
Yeah.
Driving all the way down.
Give him a jetpack for some fucking reason. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you got Omega, he's the cleaner. He's done the Terminator entrance and stuff like that.
I wonder if the Bucks will be there to play the Terminator drum thing.
They always do that.
Bum, 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 bum. Every single time, and it makes me laugh. And then he'll do the pose, just like out of nowhere. He'll just do the Terminator pose. It's like, all right, I can get behind this. This is good.
I definitely think it's very plausible, though, that's what we would have gotten, and I would have loved to see that, but it was also in a world where we didn't think that was the Jericho Omega thing was possible.
That is a legit once in a lifetime thing. I always say Jericho's on his way out. I said that fucking 10 years ago. And now he's done the best work of his career.
Mm-hmm.
He's still doing the best work of his fucking career.
I agree. I mean, he's been on the craziest tear. Like, even before, like, I really loved that CM Punk angle that he did because that's where we started seeing, like, true heel Jericho. Whenever he was like, "Oh, you're straight edge. How about I pour this bourbon on you? Are you afraid of it? Like, drink up, pussy." Like that type of shit.
Will burn your skin.
yeah. And then and that was such a good angle because like he brought up his family and all that shit, and I was like, "Oh, this is dirty. Like this is some dirty Jericho."
I mean that's a very fair point. Like I've made it known several times. I'm not huge on CM Punk, but that worked.
Yeah, because you got this. You turned the straight edge guy. I don't care about anything. Blah. I'm the fucking rebel. And then you get Jericho that picks him apart. And now CM Punk turns into this vulnerable. Like you don't see him in that position, and you're like, oh, am I now? I'm rooting for CM Punk because this guy's a dick. Like, You know.
I still rooted for Jericho though.
Oh yeah, he was so good. You're like, oh come on. He fucking slipped on his own bourbon. He poured it out and then slipped on it, and it made me laugh.
I loved just Jericho's runs in general were terrific. Even when he did the whole like being the very quiet, methodical heel, and he didn't have merchandise because a bad guy shouldn't have merchandise.
Totally, yes. Absolutely.
And everybody's just like, you're cutting your own throat because you can't. If you don't have merchandise, you're not like, they don't know how over you're going to be. You're not going to get your royalties and stuff like that for the merch. And it's just like, bad guy doesn't need that. Like,
smart
people want it. So I'm making sure they don't get it.
Yes. Yeah. And that's another reason why you want to see me get my ass kicked is like, because I'm not giving the people what they want. So they're like, boo that man. Oh, good times. But yeah, I need to watch more wrestling. I need to, because I've seen it kind of on the outskirts. I still haven't seen, I haven't seen the most recent pay-per-views. You know, I think I watched NXT, but.
You think you watched NXT?
Yeah, I need to actually like remember back, like which NXT did I watch? Yeah, so.
Because I know this Sunday we got Clash of Champions.
Yeah.
And we have that crazy build for Bray and Matt, which is terrific. Yeah. It is wonderful.
Wonderful.
Oh,
that'll be good. I'm just worried how they're gonna bury Bray again.
Yeah.
This might be actually a way for them to not bury Bray.
True.
That's because it looks like they're going full on with this whole broken woken thing.
Yeah.
And a character like Bray Wyatt can thrive in that.
Oh yeah.
Much like in TNA, how Abyss, who kind of became irrelevant, was able to thrive in that. Mm-hmm. You know, it just, I just hope they bring more people into it. I mean, like a lot of the B players that you don't see a lot of, bring them in. We got Rockstar Spud supposed to be starting up anytime. We need him with Broken Matt, and it's just like, oh. And hopefully we'll end up getting our Thanksgiving Day ice cream social.
You know who we need from TNA? My boy, Crazy Steve.
They didn't. He had a tryout, and they didn't pick him up.
They didn't pick him. Oh, Crazy Steve, you let me down.
Yeah, I would have loved for that.
My thing about Crazy Steve is I was like, if I were a professional wrestler, I think I would want Crazy Steve's gimmick. Out of all the gimmicks in the world, either him or like Ted DiBiase, like $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. Those are the two. Because I was like, I could get behind the whole like Ted DiBiase, everybody has a price. Like that's such a good, evil, like throttle, like I'm going to buy your ass out. Or you're Crazy Steve and you come out on a tiny little tricycle and you have your hobo like outfit on. And you have your crazy like.
Oh, you're talking about early Crazy Steve
dude,
too.
The clown
with the little like monkey with the horn and shit.
That's what I want. I want him right now. Get him in there. Have him be the new champ. Him versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Make this happen to me. Like the best openings. Like you see Shinsuke do all his cool stuff and a violin player, and then you see Crazy Steve with his little bell, and like he. That'd be so good.
And up until the Decay days, he didn't speak.
Yeah,
that was the other thing. He just used the horn,
and he's like,
he would laugh and
smile,
the horn and shit.
He looked so demented. It was the weird like Marilyn Manson like eye paint that he had and stuff. And I was like, oh, this guy's a genius. Yeah. This is great. he's like Teller and Penn and Teller. Like he didn't have to say anything. He just shows up and waves and then does crazy shit. And then he's like, bye. And like he's like, what if Doink married the Crow? And like that's what Crazy Steve was.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Oh, yeah, I mean it was it was a good gimmick and it worked well. And what he's doing now, I mean, that's a carryover from the TNA stuff they had done. But still, I mean, I don't know why they didn't pick him up. I don't know why they didn't pick up Tony Storm, Piper Niven, Candice LeRae.
That's especially with NXT right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
we got Baszler coming, so
yeah.
I think honestly, it all comes down to a matter of cost.
That's true too, and I can't, especially someone like Candice LeRae, and like they make so much money on the indies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Balls
like,
flex.
You got your Will Ospreays, you got your Ricochets. Like, of course, WWE could buy them out, but like, would they want to pay that much money for one person? Probably not. At least not right now.
I do think that Ricochet is one of those people that I think can turn around 205 Live.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kenta
can do something. Hopefully they don't fuck it up, but let's just hope that, because we'll find out about Ricochet come Rumble time, because that's when his no compete with Lucha Underground ends. So
yeah, it's true.
But if he comes, most likely Tessa Blanchard's coming as well.
Yep.
So, and that would be a nice addition.
That would be great.
I mean, she did really well in the Mae Young Classic. Her work in general is amazing.
Yeah,
but
it's spot on. Like, it is. It's very technical. It's very nuanced. She's the type that she could get away with like a wrist lock as her finisher. You know, like that's just her perspective.
Well, she's got that legacy to her, though. Yeah. I mean, you got the Blanchard legacy, you got the Magnum TA legacy going through. I mean,
it's a shoe-in. It's gonna happen. It's not a matter of if, it's when.
I mean, it's just like Omega and the Bucks eventually going to the WWE.
And what they need to do is the Bucks need to come in and completely ape Generation X. It has to happen. That's the only way it can work, is they need to do the shit. They need to spray paint NWO style stuff on the camera lens. They need to cut, you know what I mean? They need to come in and be like, oh, this place sucks, but we'll make it awesome. Like, they need that type of just unrealistic swagger that, like, Nation of Domination, we're the hottest shit in the world. No one can touch us, and all you people that say otherwise are stupid, and I'm going to kick you in the face. Like, that's their whole gimmick has to be that. And then I
think that it would be better, that specifically would be better suited towards Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, personally.
Yeah. That's because someone who has to go and like, and it's bad because, you know, Kenta's my boy, but his whole like, show me respect. That's not really a gimmick. Like, sure. But if you had a group, like you talked about Ricochet, I mean, if you get a faction, you get the new Nexus or whatever.
Yeah.
And they come in and they're like, no, you guys don't understand. You guys were having a main event, but we're going to walk out and stand in the middle of the ring. And there ain't shit you going to do about it. Like, that's so big. I love that old school NWO Kevin Nash. Like, even the wrestlers are marks. Like, all y'all are marks. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I want that type of attitude from somebody. And I think it could happen. And then if you have a backup plan, like, oh, and by the way, our muscle is Aleister Black. He's going to kick you in the face. What are you going to do about it? Like, like that's that type of vibe I want. But I don't know what team could do it. Like, I think that's the type of shakeup that the stuff needs right now. Because right now it's very segmented and kind of what we talked about. Everyone's kind of wishy-washy on who their character is, and they're kind of going through the motions and kind of feeling things out. You need someone to come in with unbridled confidence, so much so that it's cockiness, and they're like, there's no one better than me. Like, there's just no one better than me. Like, let's just do that, you know.
So you're talking Pete Dunne, gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, Pete, that's why that was so effective for that tournament.
UK tournament.
Yeah, the UK tournament, because shit, he punched William Regal. Like, what are you going to do, old man? Like, that was so great. And then here's the bruiserweight, and he doesn't give a shit. And then him and Tyler Bate have maybe the best NXT style match I've seen, maybe ever. I mean, it's up there. That was an absolute jaw dropper of a match. Like I need to go back and rewatch it because the first time I watched it, they did the pin, and I was like, I'm gonna rewatch that, and I rewound it and watched it all the way through again.
Yeah,
I was like, that match was perfect.
And that's an interesting point with Pete Dunne though, because they have Tyler Bate, and they have Trent Seven.
Yeah,
they have British Strong Style.
Yeah,
I mean, they're all cruiserweights. Like, just saying that's an option you have for 205 Live. You got to do something with it because, I mean, if you want it to exist, either shit or get off the pot.
Yeah, like go all in, or don't even have it as a show.
Don't turn it into a whole Enzo parade.
Yeah,
no,
right. And that's the deal. Is it's like, because I was a huge fan of what the potential was of the NWO and Goldberg. Like, basically, whenever you hear the commentaries and stuff, and like the talking to Scott Hall and talking to Kevin Nash. In hindsight, their idea made sense, but the execution didn't work. Is they were like, the NWO solely existed to be a feeding machine for Goldberg. Like, we wanted to be the most dastardly devils in the world, so the hero Goldberg could eat us. Like, could just destroy the NWO. That was the whole point of the NWO, is for someone like Goldberg to come and conquer all. They wanted it with DDP, and they wanted it with Goldberg. Here are the two heroes that saved the company. And it didn't quite work out, and then the finger poke of doom, and it was kind of a misguided tell, and like all that shit. But like, I like that idea of here are the bad guys that are so cool you want to root for them. But then who's going to stop these guys? It's that whole, who's going to end the streak? Who's going to be the one to conquer the Undertaker? Who's going to be the one, there's incentive there, and it's not hard to build. On top of that, like, that's a story that's self-sustaining. As long as it's still happening, it's still going to get hyped up. You know what I mean? Like, as long as that streak's still not broken, who's going to be the one? Who's going to be the one that beats up Asuka? Who's going to be the one, like, that always works. It works in the UFC. It works in boxing. Who's going to be the person that knocks out Floyd Mayweather? No one. That's who. That's why he sells out all the time. So, like... It works. I mean, they said the same thing about Tyson too. Like, who's going to take down Tyson? And then Buster Douglas came out of nowhere and went a lucky shot. Right. And it's talked about forever. And like, that's that's the beauty of it. It's like, you can set up this house of cards that's just so particular, and then like, who's going to come and just destroy it? And I think that's why that whole Jericho thing's so effective in New Japan, is because we're building up Kenny Omega, and look how great this guy is. He's the future of our company. And then Jericho comes in, it's like, fuck that guy. Like, I'll fight that guy. And then, like...
I'm the alpha, he's the omega. I mean, that's what it is.
Genius, right? It's genius. Like, we need more of that energy. If you can get that type of energy in 205 Live... And here's the thing, I think that, what's his face? The Brian Kendrick. He had something for that little bit, wherever he was like shaking hands with Tajiri, and Tajiri spits that mist in his face. Like, he was such a sleazeball.
Yeah.
And I was like, keep doing that. Like, keep that guy as the guy with the belt. Just make him as sleazy and terrible as possible for a year. Like, really build, like, it's a boiling point. Like, it's this cauldron of just heat that is just building over time. And like, who at WrestleMania is going to beat Brian Kendrick to be the conqueror,
I just had a thought of who I would love to see on 205 Live. And yes, I say love to see on 205 Live as like actually wanting to watch the program. Bushi.
Dude, Bushi's sick. I'm a Bushi mark through and through, man. Even his look is cool.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm going to wear a suit and the Hitman gloves and a fucking luchador mask.
And then I'm going to take that off and I'm having another mask underneath.
And a mask with an earring on it for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And my partner's gonna shake the guy's hand, duck, and I'm gonna hit him with the mist. Like,
so good. That mist always works, man.
Yeah.
And then like
best move in wrestling.
Oh, sure.
Hands down.
And like you should hear me squeal every single time that it's like Tajiri and the Great Muda and they're a tag team because of course Muda taught Tajiri, right? So they do their moves and stuff, and then they go in the corner and they both spit at the same time. So like their colors combine to make another color, and I was like, "Oh my god! Like this is the greatest thing I've ever seen." Every time it happens, I just freaking mark out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but
it works every time. They don't even have to wrestle. They could just show up and do that shit and spit and then leave. And I'm like, I paid $200 for this, and that is perfect. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. And it's just, I know there's one thing that eventually will end up happening because I know I've talked about it on the other show. I want to kind of do a thing where like we fantasy book our WrestleMania.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Yeah, that would be a definitely cool thing to do because it's like, you'd be limited to the current roster. I mean, you can bring in maybe like one or two surprises, but that's about it.
Gotcha.
And I mean, it just, everything from pre-show to the main event. And it's just,
that'd be fun.
They have talent and they're not using it.
It's true. I wonder if that could be a question for next week. Like not the whole pay-per-view, but like we'll say a title match. Doesn't have to be for the heavyweight it could be for the USA title. It doesn't matter. Pick whatever match for whatever belt. It could be tag team championships, whatever. For WrestleMania, and you can also like get the story. Like whatever the story and the build for this thing is, like you have control over that. It goes correctly, like the build goes right, no one gets injured, like everything works the way it should.
Yeah, it's that time of year where everybody's going to start dropping. So
perfect time, like perfect world, everything goes right, they're in perfect health. They're there to like steal the show. What is your match? Who's in your match? What title is it for?
You're the agent on the match.
Yes,
like,
you are.
Who are you?
Yeah, you build it from the ground up. You build it. So yeah, for next week, let's all jot that shit down. Let's talk about it. That'd be a good fun. Let's see, because next week will be
episode 46.
Next week will be the show right before Christmas.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this could be our Christmas celebration. Is a dedication to hyper violence and booking a wrestling show.
Perfect.
That'd be good. But yeah, I think
Lego death match. Like it's just
oh god. But the chainsaw to the face match with John Moxley and the brutal. Oh, so brutal. But that is our time, guys. For episode number 45 of Brothering Around. You know where to find all of us. But here's the thing. I'm going to shill out. Marco brought this up like last week, I think, on Twitter, and he's right. We're going to shill our shit right now. So go watch Moriarty at twitch.tv/Moriarty_time. You got the way it's spelled on the YouTube archive. So go look at that. And then also Mr. Todd EVF on Twitch. No longer on Patreon because they done goofed.
Fuck Patreon.
They made a boo boo. We're so sorry about the boo boo.
We'll find a way to make it worse for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, our crack team talked to 4 people for 20 minutes, and we're coming up with a better idea.
Yeah.
But you could catch him twitch.tv/Todd EVF. Is there an underscore?
Nope.
No.
It's all one thing.
All one Todd EVF. So go do that. And of course, Mr. Marco Flores, who has been killing it with the reaction videos. We didn't get to bring it up this episode, but dude, next week we're talking about that Norman Reedus shit because I laugh that. If you guys want the best laugh, go to Marco's channel, Nerd in the Bay, youtube.com/Nerd in the Bay. Go right now there is a video, a reaction video for the Death Stranding trailer. And the befuddlement on Marco's face is the most, like, it's a jewel that I want to put on a necklace. Like, it is the funniest thing. I was rolling in my office, like, I was on my lunch break, laughing my ass off, because your facial expressions were exactly my facial expressions. Like, as things were happening, I was like, what? And you said something that made me laugh out loud, and I literally put it in your comment. You said
baby football,
and I lost it. That was my breaking point, because I was holding it together okay, and you're like, that's like a baby football. And the way you say it, because Norman Reedus' character is holding it just like a football, like close to him, like looking at this thing.
Just waiting for the Heisman pose.
Exactly, like just kicking it out. Oh my god. But it's 9 minutes of, and I love you preface it. I'm not going to give the whole video away, but like you preface it by being like, this is a 9-minute video. I'm not going to watch this twice. It's so good.
Nice. At least you're honest.
Oh yeah, youtube.com/nerdinthebay. That's that video and so many more, just amazing reaction videos. Just awesome stuff. And you all know where to find me. Just go to videos.commytohobo.com, because YouTube done goofed on my URL. Unbelievable. Because if you put in Commie V2, it goes to my old closed Commie to Hobo channel. If you put in Commie to Hobo, it goes to the old Commie to Hobo channel. I'm like, redirect that shit. Give me back my name, please.
Oh man!
So just go to videos.commytohobo.com, or go to just
YouTube.
Yeah, just commytohobo.com, and go there and I think all these fine creators, I'm on their side list and they are on my side list. So find one of us and you'll find all the rest of us.
Yep.
Good way to do it.
There you go.
But that's our time, guys. Yeah, it has been episode number 45. Thank you all so much for hanging out. It's always fun. We're going to see you all next week with our WrestleMania match, the dream matches. We'll see you then. Peace.
Jazz hands.
Bye.
Bye.